Hi, welcome to Creating a Mensa Dog. Today we'll be going over how to get the full potential out of your dog. And this will be great for any new dog owners or people who have been owning a dog who haven't really gotten around to properly training them yet. So here are the three key points I will go over today. First, identifying what makes a Mensa dog unique. Secondly, learning how to train your dog to be a Mensa dog and what strategies to use. And finally, seeing what Mensa dogs can be used for beyond just being a family dog. So what even is a Mensa dog? Decoding your dog describes a Mensa dog as it's a dog that's highly trained and will consistently respond in the desired manner to their owner or trainer's commands. There are many different training strategies that can be used to train a dog, such as classical and operant conditioning. Classical conditioning is pairing an unconditioned response with an unrelated stimuli, for example, clicker training and Pavlov's dog experiment. And then operant conditioning is normal training that can be split into four categories that we'll go over in the next slide. And then not only are these dogs highly trained, but a Mensa dog should also be able to display some problem-solving abilities and critical thinking skills. So, first, we have positive reinforcement. This is the baseline training method. You give your dog treats, toys, praise when the desired action is taken. Second, we have negative reinforcement. This is when there's a consistent negative stimuli on the dog that is only removed when the desired action is made. Third, we have positive punishment. This is when a negative response is added to try and decrease the negative behavior, such as yelling at your dog when they do something wrong. And then finally, we have negative punishment. This is when something the dog likes is removed in response to a negative behavior, for example, taking a toy away. So, what's the best type of training? While most types of trainings have pros and cons associated with them, it's clear the best type of training as a base is positive reinforcement, as it'll lead your dog to willingly do the desired behavior. Whereas positive punishment can be really misleading if not done at exactly the right time. For example, you can't punish your dog if they pee on the carpet and then you come in and see that pee because it won't be at the right time, so they won't be able to make that proper association. And then negative reinforcement has its own issues. It can be quite cruel if used excessively or incorrectly. And then negative punishment is is pretty good. It's I would say it's the second best option in general, like as a baseline. As removing a positive from the dog can be a good way of preventing negative behavior in the future. However, it isn't really a great way to promote positive behavior. But it's important to recognize that that all types of operant conditioning do have a role and should be used in creating your Mensa dog in some capacity. So some confusion points. You really need to be consistent with what you call what when you're training your dog. You can't use the same word for two different actions or two different things, as that will just make them very confused. The main thing is just be very precise. Another confusion point is the inflection of your voice or the tone of your voice or how long you're saying words. As all of this it can compound and confuse your dog even more. Another confusion point, mixed signals. You need to be sure that what you think is a punishment for your dog feels like a punishment to them. It, because if it doesn't, then you may accidentally be reinforcing bad behavior. Sometimes your dog just really wants attention and the best solution could be ignoring them. But that's also not always the solution. It varies time by time. For example, if your dog's barking and chasing the mailman, then ignoring that behavior isn't going to work because the mailman running away is the dog's positive outcome for that. So that you will need to take action on. What could prevent your dog from reaching their full potential? Even if your dog isn't the best at a certain task, you can't get angry with them because if you get angry with them, then they'll start associating that task with you being angry and they'll want to do it even less. Another mistake, always giving treats as a reward. Don't do this. Only do this at the very start when you're initially building that association. After you've built that association, you want to scale back the amount of treats that you're giving until you're only giving treats rarely, like one every five, one every 10 times, but your dog will still do the task, do the response every time in hopes of that time being the time they get the treat. Final big mistake, doing all the training in a controlled environment. It's important to start in a controlled environment, but you want to be able to take it outside later on. So because that's where distractions are. That's where your dog will actually be doing these behaviors. So you want to be training where you're going to be doing it. Benefits of having more Mensa dogs. A study based out of Naples in Italy, run by undergraduate students, showed that shelter dogs' age impacted whether or not whether they've been trained impacted whether or not they were adopted. So it showed that while it doesn't have much of an effect on juvenile dogs, it's as they get older, it starts to have more and more and more of an effect to the point where adult and senior dogs, if they haven't been trained, they're far, far less likely to be adopted than their trained counterparts. These stats show that having more effective training programs for dogs will be a great way at reducing the overpopulation of dogs in shelters. Another important stat from the same study shows that up to 25% of dogs are relinquished due to behavioral issues, which is just more dogs that could be kept out of shelters with proper training. And that's why it's important for everyone, every dog owner, to know how to train their dog. Mensa dogs in action. Another benefit of having highly trained dogs is the opportunity for specialization to jobs. One specific type of jobs these dogs can have is in the medical assistance field. In a 2022 paper that many professionals collaborated in, um, they detailed the use of training methods that are very similar to what we would be using to create a Mensa dog. And what they mentioned that the first and most important skill for these medical dogs to learn is to follow their humans off leash at all times, as well as come when called. And this is also similar to what decoding your dog mentions is an important skill for Mensa dogs to learn, and what you would be teaching your dog to do. These medical dogs also have many unique training methods, such as being trained by a variety of people so that they form an attachment to people in general rather than just their handler. And this is something that you could also apply when training your dog, as you could have your entire family collaborate in training the dog rather than just one person training them, so that they form an attachment to at the very least the entire family rather than just one person. And then a key difference is that these highly specialized dogs, they're all trained as puppies. Because puppies do learn quicker than older dogs. However, older dogs can still 100% learn new tricks, and that shouldn't prevent you from adopting an older dog. However, it is just going to take a bit longer to teach them as opposed to a younger dog. And here are the sources I used for this, and thank you for watching.